What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to United Focus. This is your latest Manchester United transfer updates. The Mateus Fernandes situation has been fully resolved and not in United's favour. Tottenham have confirmed the deal. His medical was reportedly underway on Wednesday. It is done. And now the question every single United fan is asking is the same. Where do Michael Carrick and this recruitment team go from here? We have got a lot to unpack today. Alex Scott competition has exploded. Jarrod Bowen has dropped a significant transfer hint. There are honest assessments to make about Baleba and Tonali. And we need to talk about whether United's cautious approach to spending is actually the right strategy or whether it is costing them targets they genuinely needed. Let's get straight into every single detail. Right, let's put this one fully to bed because it is over and we need to move on with clear eyes. Tottenham Hotspur have agreed an £85 million deal to sign Mateus Fernandes from West Ham. He was reportedly undergoing his medical at Spurs on Wednesday. It is done. United have lost this one. This is the second primary midfield target United have missed out on this summer, after Manchester City paid £116 million for Elliot Anderson, pricing United out of that race. Two top targets, both gone to Premier League rivals. That is a genuinely difficult situation to be in at this stage of the transfer window. Now, there has been some thoughtful analysis going around about United's approach to this window, and it is worth addressing directly and honestly. United backed out of Anderson because City went to 9 figures. They have now done the same with Fernandez at 85 million. And there is a legitimate argument that United's caution here is admirable. They have a clear valuation on players, they do not budge from it, and they do not panic buy just because a rival inflates the market. But there is a counter-argument that is equally legitimate. At some stage, United need to bite the bullet and spend elite money on elite players. The reality of the current transfer market is that £85 to £100 million is simply what it costs to sign a quality central midfielder right now. That is not overpaying. That is market rate. Fernandez's CV is thin. 2 relegations with Southampton and West Ham, limited top-level exposure. You could make the case United were right to walk away from that specific player at that fee. But losing 2 midfield targets in the same summer without landing either replacement is a problem that needs addressing urgently, and urgently means now. Right, Alex Scott has been named as United's next midfield priority following the Fernandes setback, and the competition just became absolutely extraordinary. The Daily Mail are reporting that Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea and Tottenham have all shown interest in the 22-year-old Bournemouth midfielder, alongside United. That is 5 clubs from the top tier of English football all chasing the same player, and Bournemouth's stance remains crystal clear. Scott is not for sale. The Cherries are insisting on this publicly and consistently. Should they receive any approaches, Bournemouth would likely demand more than £60 million. Now let's address the footballing question that has been raised today. Can Alex Scott actually play alongside Kobbie Mainoo? Because this is a genuine tactical concern that Carrick and his staff need to think carefully about. Scott is a dynamic, attacking-minded number 8. He is not Casemiro. He does not operate primarily as a defensive shield in front of the back 4. If both Scott and Mainoo are playing together, who provides the midfield protection? Who sits and allows the others to press and drive forward? The defence could be left genuinely exposed without a natural anchor alongside those two. This is not necessarily a deal breaker. Carrick could adapt his tactical setup to accommodate both. But it is a legitimate question that needs a convincing answer before spending £60+ million on a player who may not solve the specific problem United actually have. Realistically, with 5 major clubs interested and Bournemouth determined not to sell, Scott at a sensible fee looks very difficult to achieve this window. United need to be honest with themselves about whether pursuing this one is the best use of their time and resources right now. Now here is a story that appears to close a door United fans might have been curious about. Manchester United are among the clubs credited with interest in West Ham captain Jarrod Bowen following the Hammers' relegation to the Championship. However, West Ham have just featured Bowen prominently in the launch of their new home kit. The club captain, appearing in the kit launch barely a month after their relegation, sends an unmistakable message. West Ham want to keep him, and based on his participation in this promotional material, Bowen appears to be staying put. There is also a financial angle that reduces West Ham's pressure to sell. With the £85 million just received from Tottenham for Fernandez, West Ham have significantly released the financial burden that might otherwise have forced them into selling another key player. They do not desperately need more money right now, and that makes a Bowen exit significantly less likely than it might have been a month ago. For United, this appears to close off another potential attacking option without it ever properly opening. Move on, let's be really honest about Sandro Tonali, because the analysis of United's position here is worth having clearly. United admired Tonali. The Italian would have been a superb addition to Carrick's midfield, but a move was never a serious possibility for the Reds given everything else happening in this window. His £100 million price tag was always going to be a stretch, especially for a club that backed out of Anderson at £116 million and Fernandez at £85 million. The financial logic simply did not add up for United at this stage of their rebuild. And here is the broader point that matters. At some stage, United need to accept that elite midfielders cost £100 million in the current market. That is not extraordinary. That is simply what Declan Rice cost Arsenal, what Moises Caicedo cost Chelsea, what Anderson cost City. Holding the line on valuations makes sense when you are protecting against genuine overpaying. But if the threshold for overpaying is set so low that you cannot acquire any elite talent, the approach becomes self-defeating. United's newfound financial discipline is genuinely admirable in many ways, but discipline without execution is just missing out. There has been some discussion about whether United should return to Brighton for Carlos Baleba, and the honest assessment from multiple angles today is the same. Baleba is not the answer. After United inquired about him last summer, his form dropped significantly. His performance at Old Trafford in the Premier League was notably disappointing, and the demeanour he showed on being substituted did not suggest a player fully committed to the challenge in front of him. Too much for too little is the broad consensus around this one. United should move on from Baleba as a meaningful option and focus their energy on the genuinely better alternatives available. So where do United go from here? Let's focus on the two most realistic paths forward. Felix Nmecha of Borussia Dortmund remains one of the most genuinely achievable quality additions United can make in this window. The Athletic confirmed inquiries have already been made. The player is keen on a Premier League return. United technical director Jason Wilcox knows him from their shared City Academy days. And crucially, Dortmund are believed to be preparing for offers, suggesting they are open to selling. The hope is that United can negotiate below the market rate benchmarks that Anderson and Fernandez have now set, given that Nmecha's profile is slightly different from those two players. Ayoub Boadi remains on the radar too, but as we have covered repeatedly, this one is enormously complicated by the competition. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and Manchester City all want him at a minimum price of £69 million. United getting ahead of that competition looks very difficult right now. Quick note on a potential departure. Lisandro Martinez is reportedly being eyed by former United boss Ruben Amorim as he looks to rebuild his defence at AC Milan. Amorim knows Martinez intimately from their time together at Old Trafford. If Milan make a serious move and Martinez himself is open to the switch, United would have a decision to make about whether they can afford to lose their Argentine centre-back this summer, especially with the squad still being heavily rebuilt elsewhere. If Martinez were to leave, that would require United to also address the centre-back position, adding yet another area of the squad needing attention in an already very busy window. Sky Sports have confirmed what we have been telling you for weeks. Manchester United have identified West Ham's Crysencio Summerville as a leading target as they search for a new left winger. Summerville had an outstanding World Cup with the Netherlands before his side were unfortunately eliminated in a penalty shootout against Morocco. His performances during the tournament only increased his profile and appeal to multiple clubs simultaneously. The left-wing position question at United is directly linked to the Marcus Rashford situation. Rashford is set to return to United following his elimination with England from the tournament. He spent last season on loan at Barcelona, who chose not to exercise their purchase option. Now he is back, and United need to decide whether he becomes part of the plan or whether Summerville comes in as a genuine replacement. Sky Sports are clear that the Summerville situation depends on the future of Rashford. If Rashford is sold or loaned out, Summerville becomes an even more immediate priority. If Rashford somehow becomes part of Carrick's plans, despite the earlier suggestions he would not, the urgency changes. West Ham want around £50 million for Summerville. After the £85 million they achieve for Fernandez, they will feel emboldened to hold firm on that valuation too. The midfield market. Full overview of all remaining options. Let's map every remaining midfield option United are genuinely considering, because it is important to have complete clarity on where the recruitment stands. Ayoub Bouadi of Lille has emerged as a genuine target after his outstanding World Cup performances for Morocco. Expected to cost at least £69 million. The massive complication? Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and Manchester City are all interested. That is an extraordinary level of competition for a single 18-year-old midfielder. United need to assess whether they can realistically compete in that specific race. Aurelien Tchouameni of Real Madrid. United have received an interesting boost here. Fresh updates suggest United have been handed improved chances of landing the Frenchman. But as Romano previously cautioned, two major obstacles remain. The salary does not fit current plans, and Real Madrid have still not signalled any real intention to sell. The analyst view is also worth noting. This deal is described as a gamble due to timing. Every day that passes without Tchouameni brings the start of the season closer, and United need their Casemiro replacement in position to bed in before competitive football begins. Carlos Baleba of Brighton, still on the list. Interest has been on and off throughout the summer. Brighton will cite high valuations given the distorted market. Adam Wharton, mentioned as a consideration, though previously viewed as too similar to Mainu in profile. Sander Berg, an interesting left field name that appears on the wider consideration list. This is a genuinely difficult market to navigate right now. Anderson going for £116 million to City and Fernandez going for £85 million to Spurs have both set new benchmarks that other clubs will now use to inflate their own valuations. United's recruitment team faces the challenge of finding genuine quality at a reasonable price in a market that has just been significantly distorted by those two headline deals. Let's talk about Tchouameni specifically, because this one deserves proper analysis. There is nobody who would argue against the quality. Tchouameni is genuinely elite, a Champions League winner, France international, one of the best defensive midfielders in world football. Landing him would be an extraordinary statement of intent from Carrick's United, but the timing risk is real. If Real Madrid spend weeks deliberating, going back and forth, before ultimately deciding to either sell or keep him, United could lose weeks of their pre-season preparation period waiting on a deal that may never happen. With the squad already needing to gel around new signings ahead of Champions League football, that window of time has genuine value. The sensible approach might be to pursue Tchouameni as a background option while aggressively advancing the more achievable deals in Scott and Nmecha. Do not put all eggs in the Tchouameni basket. Keep the pursuit alive, but do not let it delay progress on everything else. Tottenham can afford to gamble on Fernandez because they are essentially in a higher risk, higher reward rebuild anyway. United are building towards something more stable and structured. Sometimes walking away from the right player at the wrong price is the correct call. The execution needs to be quicker in future, but the decision itself has logic behind it. Let's bring everything together completely. Ederson, confirmed, arriving in July after Brazil's World Cup. First signing done. Fernandez, gone to Tottenham at £85 million. United did not match the price. Now pursuing Alex Scott, Carrick's strong alternative. Bournemouth want £80 million and are determined to keep him. Felix Nmecha, inquiries made, keen on Premier League return. Wilcox connection, hoping to negotiate below market rate with Dortmund. Leading target for left wing, Crysencio Summerville, confirmed by Sky Sports, £50 million.